Sorry, we had some problem with the net services. We are having Ved Pradam Mantra. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. In this series of talks on Ved, today we will cover Devi Sukta, which comes in the Rig Ved, 10th book, 10th mandal, and hymn number 125. It's a beautiful hymn, as we shall see. Now, before we get down to explaining the verses, just a very small introduction. Like those of you who are familiar with Indian spiritual traditions, meaning Hindu spiritual traditions, you know two very interesting things about it. First, there are three divinities or three faces of divinities that are worshipped more or less throughout the country. First of these is Vishnu in various forms. That is Sri Ram, Sri Krishna and all. Narayan. Second one is Shiva. And third one is Shakti. And of course now it's customary that whatever worship you perform, Ganesh has to be worshipped. Ganesh is universal, but as far as divinities directly are concerned, these three are the universal ones, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Kamakhya to Kutch. Of these, Shakti worship is very fascinating because Shakti is worshipped more or less throughout the country. Probably much more than even say Shiva and Vishnu. Probably. I mean, I'm not very sure about it, but more or less. Now, when you think of Shakti worship, you always have to think of Devi Sukta. Devi Sukta and of course Ratri Sukta, which we will cover later on, is a very small Sukta. As for Devi Sukta, how important it is, you can imagine this way, that of all the Hindu sacred books that we have, there's only one single book which is the most popular sacred book in India, in the sense of universality. And that is Devi Mahatmya. In Hindi belt, it is known as Durga Saptashati. In Bengal, Chandi. It may have various names. It's a small book with 700 verses. And of those 700 verses, there are many uvacha said. So, total number of actual verses is much less. Now, what is very interesting about this sacred book is that it comes in a Purana. A Purana is just religious stories based on the Vedic wisdom. But the recitation of Devi Mahatmya is from, same as I said, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Kamakhya to Kutch. And all kinds of people recite it. The scholarly, the learned, the devout, semi-learned, housewives, all. Like some of you may contest it saying that Ramcharitmanas is popular. Yes, but Ramcharitmanas is confined to a particular geographical area, but not Devi Mahatmya. And Devi Mahatmya is a very fascinating story about two persons who have been badly beaten up by the world. One is a king, King Surat, and the other one is a businessman, Samadhi. And they're so dejected with the world, and yet they feel an attraction towards things that they have lost. So they reach one ashram of a sage, Medha. And there, Medha Muni narrates the story of Mahamaya, mother goddess who deludes us, goddess who gives us strength, goddess gives us wisdom, goddess gives us everything. She also gives us divine wisdom. She also keeps us deluded. What a fascinating thing. It's unbelievable. Now, this Devi Mahatmya, towards the end, these two persons, Surat and Samadhi, they are asked to recite Devi Suktam continuously. Instead of a single mantra, which is the common practice in India, they were asked to offer their prayers in the form of reciting Devi Sukta. And then Mother appeared before them, and Samadhi wanted mukti, liberation, and Surat wanted to be the king monarch of a complete cycle of the universe. And they both got what they wanted. What is very fascinating about Devi Mahatmya, that it highlights the importance of one single hymn, Devi Sukta. And for that, it has created such a wonderful spiritual background that that background itself is now an independent spiritual work. Such an important thing. It's a very fascinating thing. And that is what is extremely fascinating about Indian spiritual traditions. That unlike, say, as we see other religions, in Indian traditions, we don't have commandment kind of thing that God commands and then you have to abide by that. You find that some sage, some great sage, so not really saints because sages are superior to the saints. Some sage gives us some narration, some story, and in that we have some prayers just woven within it. And with time, it becomes so important. Like those of you who are familiar with Valmiki's Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas, you will realize how different Ramcharitmanas is compared to, say, Valmiki Ramayana. And yet, Ramcharitmanas has become much more important than, say, Valmiki Ramayana, at least in the Hindi belt. Just like that. People do not recite Devi Sukta much as compared to Devi Mahatmya itself. So, and yet, Devi Sukta, it is recited practically in every Shakti temple and wherever, I mean, if you know some Hindu family that is deep into Shakti worship, their kids, when they are even at a young age, they are encouraged to recite and memorize Devi Sukta. So, such is the importance of Devi Sukta. Now, Devi Sukta is pretty unusual in many sense. One is, it is one of those few. By few, I mean there are quite a few, but compared to the corpus of the Vedic suktas, Vedic hymns, there are a few hymns that have come down to us through oral traditions, starting some Rishika, that is female sage. So Devi Sukta is from Rishika. Vak Ambrini. That means the Rishika, the female sage, her name was Vak. And she was the daughter of another sage, Ambrini. Ambrini means daughter of Ambrina. Just imagine 10,000 years ago, some female sage composing something, coming up with some spiritual truth. And that spiritual truth, setting parameters and defining an entire system of spiritual way of life, Shakti Sadhana. So whether you are from Vedic tradition, Puranic tradition, or you are from Tantra tradition, Devi Suktam is extremely important for each of these traditions of sadhana. So amazing, so amazing. And that's why every time I hear allegations against Hindu religion that Hindus have neglected their women, it's laughable because of the most universal sacred book, as I said, Devi Mahatmya, is based on a hymn which was given to us by a female sage. Now, this is not the only one, but one of the very important ones. Second, very interesting thing about this sukta is that it is dedicated also to walk. Walk is speech, words, logos. As we read in the Bible, in the beginning was Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So this hymn is dedicated to walk. And sometimes we also come across the term Paramatma, God. But as you go through it, you realize that this prayer is an expression of mother power, an expression of goddess. God is the mother. The Rishika, the female sage, walk. Having grown up in the tradition of the Vedas and having grown in the ashram of her father, Ambrana, she must have been quite familiar with the Vedic tradition, must have studied, meditated upon, gone into the depths of meditation, and must have succeeded in breaking the glass ceiling of the mind. We are also bound within the empires of the mind. Some of are confined to physical world, some to the subtle world, some to the causal world. But here is Rishika. She broke through that ceiling and realized her oneness with Atman, her oneness with Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. And when she returned from that state, she realized the famous statement in the Upanishads, Matta Sarvam Pravartante. Everything has come out of me, and I am the substratum of everything, which is true for all of us. It's true for you, it's true for me, it's true for him, it's true for her. The sad part is that we don't know this to be true. But Vagambrini, she had realized this truth. And her realization broke out in this famous hymn. You can see this hymn in any way you like. You can see it as expression of Mother Goddess. You can see it as someone who has identified with Atman and expressing their feeling, or just a prayer, in whatever way. Because whenever we talk of Shakti, Shakti is the divine power of God. It's one with God. It's always with God and is the substratum as also the power of the universe. Whatever is there in the universe is because of Mother Goddess. Whatever moves, whatever rests, whatever eats, whatever sleeps, everyone and everything is because of Mother Goddess. Those of you might have read Devi Mahatmya, this 5th chapter, where Mother Goddess is being prayed to by the gods. There is a huge list, Ya Devi Sarvabhutesu, etc., etc. So you very clearly see expression of those powers in this hymn, Devi Sukta. So Devata is Vagambrani, and the sage is also Vagambrani. Aham Rudrebhi Vasubhi Sharami, Aham Aditye Ruta Vishwadevai, Aham Mitra Varuna Ubha Vivarmi, Aham Indragni, Aham Ashwina Ubha. If you can, I'll request you to memorize this sukta. Because as I said, the most popular sacred book, Devi Mahatmya, extols the importance of Devi Sukta, and it's kind of the whole of Devi Mahatmya is written as if in praise of this Devi Sukta. And this is a very, very, very important hymn because it talks about God in action. God in action is Shakti, Mother Power. So the idea is like male principle, female principle. No, it's not that. Just that we know that in a household, at least till 50 years ago, in any household, the entire family and the entire house depend entirely on mother, grandmother, whosoever was the head of the family. Just like that, whenever we think of the universe, we think of mother of the universe who runs the entire thing. And that expression comes here. Aham Rudrebhi Vasubhi Shrami. Aham Aditye Ruta Vishwadevai. Aham Mitra Varuna Ubha Vibharmi. Aham Indragni. Aham Ashwina Ubha. You'll find this in our Veda Vihangam book. So, Vagambrani or Mother Goddess is telling, I move with Rudra, the Vasus, the Adityas and Vishvedevas. I alone hold Mitra, Varuna, Indra, Agni, and the twin Ashwins. These are the names of the gods. So we have the group of gods. Like in these 4 Vedas, collectively known as Ved, we find different kinds of deities. Not only male and female deities, but individual deity, dual divinities, and group of deities. Rudras, they are 11 in number. And then we have Vasus, they are 8 in number. Aditya, 12 in number. Vishwadev, they are the collective body of the gods. Now, when you have Mitra and Varuna, they are considered to be close with each other, and Indra and Agni, they are considered to be close with each other. So the narration is in such a way that practically the whole body of the gods, the whole body of the divinities of the Vedic period is taken into account. It says that those of you who are listening, listen to this. The most important deities like Indra and Agni, Mitra and Varuna, and Rudra and Vasu, all the gods that you can think of. I move with them. That means their movement is entirely dependent on me. Walk, she is not telling that she moves in the sense that like some people move with important people, important personalities, powerful people, not in that sense. It is in the sense that their movement is because of me. The gods are there because I am there. To remind you, whenever there is creation, that is what we know from, say, Nasadiya Sukta and Purus Sukta. The dividing line between the infinite and the finite is inexplicable. You cannot explain how the infinite became finite. So different schools of philosophy and different spiritual outlooks see it differently. Some will say that it's all Shabda, Shabda Brahma. Some will say it is Mother Goddess. Some will say it's all Maya, divine power. Some will say it's Prakriti, nature, which has a clear, defined reality as compared to Purush, the consciousness. These things are immaterial because there's simply no way for human mind to grasp the infinite. And there's absolutely no way to explain this phenomena of finite coming out of the infinite. Because you can play these tricks with numbers. You can have a set of, say, natural numbers, 1, 2, 3, going up to infinite. And you can take a few numbers out and you say, see, finite has come out of the infinite. But that's not how it works in the spiritual world. So any spiritual outlook is as good as any other spiritual outlook. So if some religious people say that God means so and so, perfectly all right, there's nothing wrong with it. If you treat your God as the highest manifestation of consciousness in this physical world, it's perfectly all right. Go ahead. Whether you see that as Vishnu or Sri Ram or Sri Krishna or whatever from other religions, perfectly all right. Nothing wrong with it. So who drives this universe? Now again, philosophy will have different outlook. Some will say that they are running independently. Some will say the great watchmaker. There was a time when Physics used to talk like that. God has put this world and left it independent. But we the Hindus, we believe that consciousness is always present in everything, whether animate or inanimate. Whether it is following inertia of rest or inertia of motion, makes no difference. Consciousness is always there. And this consciousness, based on which there is movement, where there is universe, we prefer to call it Shakti, mother of the universe. And when we are talking about the divinities from the Vedic period, they are moving. They are the power, they are the divine power in this universe. So who moves them? Mother Goddess, Shakti. So the expression is Charami. Charami can mean I move with them, and it can also mean I have become all that. It's all same. Like ocean makes the waves move, and the ocean has become the waves. Depending on your perception, you will see waves as part of the ocean or as being moved by the ocean. So whether you see the movement of the gods as being goaded by spiritual power, or as manifestation of that ultimate spiritual, it's all same. Like in Kathopanishad, we have Bhayatasya Agni Tabati Bhayatabati Surya. Different gods perform their duties because Supreme God is behind it. Supreme God, whenever we think of the universe, Supreme God and His power, they are one and the same. Shiva and Shakti, they are one and the same. So, and then when it says, Bibharmi, I hold. So it's very interesting. There is Bibharmi and Charami. Bibharmi is substratum. Charami is to make them move or to become. Such a fascinating idea. Sublime. It's a substratum. It's also the force. And that's why in, say, in Mundaka Upanishad, we come across this universe being compared to, with, say, the cobwebs. Comes out, stays, it goes back to the same source. And spider who throws it out, withdraws it, stays on it, no, etc., etc. Similarly, if you have massive blaze, sparks are flying out. So the substratum of those sparks is that blaze. And the power that each of these sparks get is that blaze, just like that. And it continues in mantra 2. Aham somam anasam bibharmi, aham tostaram ut pushanam bhagam, aham dadami dravidam havismate suprabhye yajamanaya sunvate. I hold Soma, the cherished. Soma, as we have mentioned in the earlier talks, it was a particular kind of drink about which we don't know much because whole thing is lost. He said that it had magical powers, and when the gods drank it, they became extremely powerful, they became healthy, and the sick got cured. I also support or hold Twasta. Twasta is the creator of lots of things. Pushan. Pushan is often identified with sun god. But Pushan has a distinct personality compared to the sun. And then there is Bhaga. And I bestow wealth upon him who perform yajna. Those of you who have been listening to our talks will remember, starting from Agni Suktam, that we believe that when you work, it's not that you always get the desired result of your work, because there are other forces, extraneous forces, and some internal forces working within a work, working within the entire aspect of work. And that's why sometimes you don't get the desired results. One of them is divine. There might be obstructions there because of some of your bad acts in the past. And that's why we in India, we like to perform worship. We like to perform yajna. We do various kinds of acts when we do something noble, so that inimical forces may be subdued and the intended result may come. That's very important. So yajna was performed by some householder, some king, or someone expecting some good result. It was believed that these yajnas gave you result. Now, when everything failed, generally it implied that there's some kind of bad karma or you don't deserve to get it. And yajnas were expected to take away those obstacles. Vak is saying, I bestow wealth upon him who perform yajna, in which oblations are made and loved by the gods. As a qualification of the yajna, in any yajna there is fire is set, sacred fire is set, oblations are made, and those oblations are expected to reach the gods. So you get desired results only when you have worked hard and you also offer worship. There's nothing wrong with that. That's also a part of your act. Aham Rashtriya Sangamani Vasunam Chikitusi Prathama Yagyanam Tang Ma Deva Vedadu Puratra Bhuristhatram Bhuri Aveshayantim. This book, Veda Vihangam, is a very helpful book because in this book you find these mantras and they are also broken in English. So pronouncing that will not be difficult. It says, this mantra is very interesting. It says, I am the queen of the universe. Queen of the universe. And bestower of wealth. It's me who gives wealth. And Chikitushu. Knower of Brahman. I know Brahman. That is, I have realized the truth that Aham Brahm, that I am that Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. I am one with consciousness. Since I am one with consciousness, and consciousness is the substratum of everything, as a power of everything, so I am this, I uphold everything and I give power to everything. The foremost of those worthy of worship. The gods like Indra, Mitra, Varun, Agni, they are the gods who are worthy of worship. But Supreme God is the first amongst all to be worshipped. Vak, or Mother Goddess, she is the foremost of those worthy of worship. And that's why gods have placed me in many places, abiding in manifold conditions, entering into numerous forms. That is, whatever the gods do, it's all actually done by Vak, Mother Goddess. And that's why whenever we offer our worship to gods, unknowingly we are worshipping Mother Goddess. So sometimes you worship Mother knowingly, and sometimes you worship her unknowingly. In Gita, we find the same sentiments coming from Sri Krishna, who says that whomsoever you worship, ultimately it comes to me. Thus, you find clearly two divisions of the divinity. One is where consciousness is being seen, pure consciousness is being seen as Divine Mother, and pure consciousness is being seen as limited beings in the form of different gods and goddesses. So, Aham Rashtriya Sangamani, I am the queen of the universe. Whatever is in this universe, I am the queen of it. I am the owner of it. She is the mother of the universe. At the same time, it says, I am the knower of Brahman. This knower of Brahman may mean two different things. One, as a Rishika, she has realized, and it might also mean there's only a mother goddess who can know God fully, correctly. Because God and His power, they are one and the same. So who else can know God as well as Mother Goddess can? Mantra number 4 says, Maya swannamatti yo vipashyati ya praniti ya ing shinoti uktam amantavo mang ta upakshyanti shuddhi shuddha shaddivam te vadami. He who eats food, sees, breathes, and hears that spoken, does so through me. We have a wonderful Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, where this question is asked. What makes the senses do their respective work? That is, how is it that we see, how is it that we hear, and how is it that we know? To this question, the teacher replies that it's a consciousness. It's because of the presence of consciousness that the senses can do their respective work. So whenever we are seeing something, we are hearing something, we are speaking something, we are eating something, we are whatever action we may perform, it is Mother Goddess that is present. Mother Goddess is there behind those acts. And that's how we are able to carry out those acts. And then it says, those who are ignorant of me perish. You who have ears, listen. I tell you that which is deserving of Shraddha. Amantavo, those who are ignorant of me. So we clearly have two kinds of people here. One is those who have understanding of spiritual reality. Second, those who do not have that understanding. Compared to human beings, animals, and lower beings, they're perishing because they're completely locked up in their species. They're born, they die, and they are born again. In human beings also, you have a clear division of two. One is those who believe in spiritual reality and those who do not. According to Devi Sukta, according to this Sukta, this hymn, those who do not understand the spiritual reality, those who do not realize the spirituality, they perish. Perish in the form that there is a limit to their survival. In Gita, Sri Krishna says that these people slowly get acquired devilish qualities, and because of those devilish qualities, slowly they perish. That means their existence becomes animal-like. So all these philosophies that you listen these days, like you only live once and live for today and all those things, essentially these things mean that people who believe in these things are non-spiritual persons. They are making their path to destruction pretty smooth. One very serious problem with life, one thing that I have realized, that unless you realize that there's a spiritual being inside you, you are not a mere body. There's a spiritual being inside you. Call it Atman, call it Sukshma Sharir, call it whatever. Till you don't have faith in that, there cannot be spiritual growth for you. There simply cannot be any spiritual growth for you. And that's why you'll find that whatever religion you may take, every religion will tell you that life continues in some form or the other after death. Because death means the destruction of this physical body. And the spiritual body that is within you will continue to live. Either it will acquire a new physical body according to Hindu, Buddhism, and Jain traditions, or it will continue to be in the subtle body till, say, the judgment day, etc., as per the belief of Abrahamic religions. But you continue to live. Now, those who don't want to believe in that, their destruction is guaranteed because slowly their life will get involved. Involved in the sense that there had been evolution for whatever reason from, say, animal state, and they will be back to animal state, and they will stay locked up there for aeons. Only those who can see that spiritual entity within a body can realize this, and that's a very serious problem. Now you may say that, well, I am happy the way I am. Fine, be happy. Who can say anything? But those who are aware, is they who become great. See, when Vagamrini was there must have been many people in her society, near her ashram, who were having a great life, say, eating, sleeping, and mating. Who remembers them? And Vagamrini and her contribution continues to inspire us. These two, she and her work, they're continuously trying to take us forward. And it's through these words, through these ideas, that we are making our life blessed. Well, that's it. And this has to be listened with Shraddha. Shraddha is a simple word. It's your personal ideal, it's your personal belief system that you build by listening to your teachers, to your parents, to your mother religion, to the elders of the society, etc. You are what your Shraddha is. Shraddha is essentially a spiritual quality. It's not mere belief. Shraddha is a technical term according to which your spiritual disposition, your entire spiritual disposition, and your faith in the words of the scriptures, in the spiritual reality. Unless you have that faith, you cannot lead a spiritual life. Ahameva swayam idam vadami justam devevi rutamanusebhi yang kamaye tantam ugram krinomi tang brahmanam tam rishim tam sumedham. You can become whatever you want to become by the grace of Mother. This is a beautiful mantra, mantra number 5. Verily, I myself say this. Mother is asserting, I am saying this. Take my words for true. What? And my words are pleasing to God and men. Your Goddess herself is telling, whomsoever I desire, I make mighty. The word is ugram. Ugram in Indian languages means cruel or harsh, but here it means powerful, mighty. That means Kshatriya. And I make him a Brahmin, the cultured, the learned. Or Rishi, a sage. Or Sumedham, a wise person. Thus you find that in any society, whether that be in America or in England or Africa or in India, according to this hymn, the truly cultured, the truly evolved, the truly elevated are the wise ones, the learned ones, and spiritually dedicated persons. And finally, the mighty and powerful. Others do not matter. If you look back at the Indian social system, you will realize that this is how the Indian society had evolved. And that's why some got more respect, others got less. when the Divine Mother is happy with you? How? You are making effort and you are also worshipping, and you are full of spiritual shraddha, full of spiritual faith. You become powerful, you become learned, you become wise, and you become spiritually illumined. Four classes are mentioned here: Sumedham, Rishi, Brahmin, and Kshatriya. Now, what to say of making people great? Even the power of gods. Aham Rudraya Dhanuratonomi, Brahmadvishe Sharave Hantavau, Aham Janaya Samadam Krinomi, Aham Deva Prithvi Avivesh. Said that once Lord Shiva had to fight some demons, and he had to kill those demons, and those demons had kind of got some boon, according to which there were three cities: the golden, that made of silver and copper, and that had to be destroyed with one arrow. So Lord Shiva was requested, and there's a beautiful description in our spiritual stories tradition, in the Puranas also. And then it was Shiva with one arrow. His bow was so powerful, so powerful. With one arrow, he destroyed three cities. So his mother says, Aham Rudraya Dhanuratonomi. I bent the bow for Rudra to slay. It was this bow that was broken by Sri Ramchandra when he married Sita. I bent the bow for Rudra to slay the dynamic enemies of the noble. I battle the enemies of my devotees. Indeed, I pervade heaven and earth. Meaning is very simple. Those who are worshippers of goddess, because after all, what is goddess? The divine power. Those who are noble, those who are good. It's the nature of human beings to torment such people. Mother herself that protects them. Aham suve pitaramasya murdhan mama yoni apsu anta samudre tato vitishte vunanu vishwa ata amum dhyam varsmana upasprishami. I brought forth the Father like sky, the space that we see. Sky here means both the space and the sky as we understand. So space was created by Mother. And that's why we have these universes. This Akash, sky, is often referred to in the Vedas as Father. It's above. And on the crown of this Supreme Being, sometimes in the Vedas, we find Supreme Being described as having sky as the head. And my place of origin is in the midst of waters. Apsu anta samudre. This is a very interesting expression, because in the Vedas, in the four Vedas, we often come across God being compared to the ocean, because ocean is the nearest big thing which gives us some idea about how infinity might be, how God the infinite might be. So Mother says that I was born in Samudra, in the ocean, meaning my origin is with God. My place of origin in the midst of waters, from where I spread through all beings and touch the heaven with my body. So, those of you who have listened to our Nasadiya Sukta talk, remember, in the beginning we don't know what was there. Nasat Asid, Nasat Asid. And then there was a desire. The birth of desire itself is mother power. So the origin of mother is with God, Samudra. And then space, energy, time, mind, all these were created simultaneously. Wherever there was creation, mother was there. Mother is there. And that's how whatever is there, be that living, be that inert, mother herself. Ahmeva vata iva pravami arvamana bhuvanani vishwa paro diva par ena pratibhya etavati mahina sang babuva. Like the wind that blows, I set in motion all the created beings. Whatever is moving, so Mother Goddess. And yet, I am beyond the sky and the earth. So, the theory of Sankhya philosophy, according to which Prakriti is the sum total of matter, is contradicted here. Mother, the conscious principle behind Prakriti, the conscious principle behind the universe, she is beyond this earth and sky. She is beyond the world of matter. And I have become all this in my own splendor. She has become all this, and yet she is beyond this. Those of you who have listened to our Purush Sukta talk, there also the same idea comes. God alone has become all this, and yet Atyatishtat Dashangulam is beyond all this by 10 fingers. So that in brief is Devi Sukta, which for thousands of years in India has been the basis of Shakti worship. And we told you in brief the story of Surat and Samadhi and how they attained whatever they wanted in life by reciting Devi Sukta. So here we end. The next talk will be on Hiranyagarbha, which is considered to be origin of the universe. Thank you so much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.